Happy New Year! If you are planning a trip to Ireland in 2025, this is the episode you need to hear as you get started. Today, I am talking about new travel requirements for visiting Northern Ireland, busy periods in Dublin that you're going to want to avoid, and of course, valuable booking tips for accommodations, transportations, and attractions. So go ahead, enjoy the podcast, and know that any and everything I talk about is available in the show notes, so there's no need for you to sit down and take notes. Are you ready? Let's jump in. Hi, thanks so much for joining me here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Beginning of a new year, and that always means new travel tips for the year. So if you're planning to visit Ireland in 2025, you need to hear these Ireland travel tips before you begin booking. And if you've already started booking, they'll still help, I promise. You're going to learn today about new requirements for visiting Northern Ireland and the UK, the days I recommend that you not visit Dublin in 2025, and what's new across the country. You're also going to get handy tips on booking everything from accommodations to attractions. So, before we dive into this, for those who are new to the podcast, or maybe you've been listening a few months, but you're not really sure who I am or what's going on, I want to take just a really brief few minutes to introduce myself, and maybe tell you a little bit about why you should listen to me when it comes to Ireland travel advice. My name is Jody Halstead, and I'm an Ireland destination specialist. I've been traveling to and through Ireland for 22 years. I can't even believe it's been so long. And I publish the website Ireland Family Vacations. I host the Traveling in Ireland podcast. I assist hundreds of travelers with their Ireland vacations each year. And occasionally, I also host small group tours. And that's a lot. And it feels like a lot, quite a bit of the year. But Ireland travel is my passion, and my goal, 100%, is to help you have an amazing Ireland vacation. And there are quite a few ways that I can help you with that. First is my website, Ireland Family Vacations. It's a complete resource for your Ireland vacation planning. It's filled with information on what to see and do, and handy tips for planning your trip, free itineraries to help get your plans in motion quickly. And don't let the name fool you. I travel through Ireland solo, with my husband, with my family, and as the host of small group tours. So whatever your group size or dynamic, I can help. I also offer itinerary personalization, vacation coaching, and custom itinerary creation services. Now, what these are designed to do is to maximize your Ireland experience. And then my small group tours, when I do host those, are designed not to only deliver the authentic experience, but to introduce you to the people and the places that make the country so incredibly magical. If you are somebody who loves the process of planning, and I know there are so many of you out there, I also have the My Ireland Vacation Planner and Journal. What this does is it walks you step by step through my expert planning process, from when to visit and how long the perfect vacation lasts, to what to see, where to stay, and even where to eat. Just guide you step by step through the process as you do your own research and fill it out. And on a more personal note, I have 2 teenage daughters who have been traveling to Ireland with me since before they could toddle. One very supportive husband who loves it when I plan other people's vacations because it means I am not planning my own. And one very large, very fluffy dog who prefers that we stay in the US and travel by RV so she can come along. So now that you know all about me, let's jump into what you need to know as you consider planning an Ireland vacation in 2025. So let's begin with any rules and restrictions. Currently, at the date of this recording, which is just before the brand new year of 2025 begins, there are no health restrictions in place for North Americans traveling to or from Ireland. But we all remember how quickly that can change. So I do have a few sites that you can check for updates when you travel. There are current rules for traveling to Ireland, current rules for returning to the US after international travel, and current rules for Canadians returning home after traveling abroad. So links for all of those are going to be found in the show notes, so be sure to check those when you're ready. I also want to touch on cancellation policies really quickly. You need to read and understand those policies before you click the book button. You want to book with a credit card when you can, and especially if it has like a cancellation coverage with that card, makes it super handy for you. Also, I highly recommend purchasing travel insurance if you book tickets or tours that don't allow 100% refund if canceled. If you're not sure if you need travel insurance, I have a handy primer for you to help you decide. So just visit the show notes and you can grab that link. So looking into next year, it looks like 2025 is going to be another busy year for tourism. While 2024 was a busy year, it still fell below the record numbers that were established in 2019. So when 2020 rolled in and before COVID hit, it looked like it was going to be just a blockbuster year. Obviously, COVID shut things down for a solid 2 years, and tourism still hasn't quite recovered. But all in all, it's not a bad thing. And I'll get to why that is in just a couple of minutes. But like I said, 2025 is expected to be busy and it could be a bit turbulent. I guess it's kind of a pun to say that, because currently there are passenger caps set at Dublin Airport that could limit flights. Now, these are under review and that could change. However, I'm actually hopeful that it's going to increase the flights into Shannon Airport, which is a perfect arrival spot if you plan to explore the West Coast. And maybe it will even add a direct flight or two from the US to Cork, which would be absolutely ideal. It's such a great airport. Let's jump into what's new in Ireland in 2025. The first thing, and probably the most important one, if you plan to visit Northern Ireland, is that you need to get a UK ETA. This is an electronic travel authorization, and you will need it to visit Northern Ireland as well as Scotland, Wales, and England if your travelers are taking you there. Now, this digital permit allows you to visit the UK for short stays. You apply using a mobile device or online. You pay a small fee. Right now it's £10, and you receive approval electronically. And it's usually pretty quick, under 2 days. Once you're approved, this is linked to your passport, and it's recommended that you have this done before you travel. For all the details on the UK ETA, as well as other documentation that you need for traveling in Ireland, you can visit the Paperwork and Passports Documents You Need to Visit Ireland article and get all the links and information. Now, Dublin's super popular. It's the first place most people visit because that's where the majority of international flights land. And Dublin is always busy, especially during the summer months. But the end of August this year is going to be exceptionally crazy. And I suggest you kind of avoid it. From August 16th and 17th, Oasis is going to be playing their reunion tour at Croke Park. So that's going to be a solid 3 or 4 days of up to 160,000 people in Dublin for those two concerts. The following weekend on August 23rd is the Aer Lingus Football Classic, and that's being played at Aviva Stadium. So they're expecting anywhere from 40 to 60,000 Americans to be coming in for that. It's Iowa State and Kansas State this year. Both of those football teams are well known for their fans traveling long distances to games. So, and I can tell you I am getting a lot of requests for assistance from those fans. So those days are going to be busy. So between the two events, you're going to expect nearly 200,000 people to descend on Dublin in a 10-day period. So that's going to mean sky-high accommodation prices, larger than normal crowds, and reservations needed absolutely everywhere. Dining, attractions, literally everywhere. So, unless you plan to attend one of those events, I recommend avoiding Dublin from August 13th to the 27th. Just don't even go into the city. Something else new. This is fun. 2025 is the 125th anniversary of the death of Oscar Wilde. And the town of Enniskillen, where he attended school from 1864 to 1871, is planning a wild weekend, so WILDE, wild weekend, of fairy tale, fantasy, and frivolity for serious people. That's going to take place October 16th through 20th of 2025. And more information about the In Our Dreams Wild Weekend Festival is expected to be announced in the spring. If you are a fan of Oscar Wilde, but you're not going to make it up to Enniskillen, then the third Oscarina, I probably pronounced that right. Oscar, I'm not even going to try. Oscariana, Oscarania, maybe that's it. Festival in Dublin will also be taking place in October. For people who enjoy, shall we say, a brisk stroll, or maybe a little bit more, the 82-mile signed walking trail of St. Patrick's Way passes key sites related to St. Patrick, and it's celebrating its 10th anniversary in 2025. It begins at the Navan Centre in Armagh and ends at the Saint's final resting place at Down Cathedral in Downpatrick. And walkers will enjoy some of Northern Ireland's most spectacular landscapes while collecting stamps in a special pilgrim's passport. So that's a really, really nice trail to visit. And another trail, kind of known as Ireland's Camino. It's 115 kilometers, takes about 6 days to complete. And while it's not necessarily new, it is undergoing improvements. So I'm talking about St. Declan's Way Pilgrim Trail. It is actually a 1,500-year-old pilgrim path from Ardmore in County Waterford to the Rock of Cashel in County Tipperary. And it follows the route that Declan took when going to meet St. Patrick in the 5th century. So really an incredible trail. You find pilgrims on this all year, every year. They're really looking to make it more of an attraction than maybe it has been in the past. So definitely something to check out is Ireland's Camino. If you are a golfer, you may know that the 153rd Open Championship is taking place at the Royal Portrush Golf Club from July 14th to 20th. I'm going to say this kind of like I did for Dublin. If you don't plan to visit the area for the event, I would adjust your travel to avoid the inflated prices and crowds during that time. And finally, 2 of Ireland's most popular driving routes are going to be connected in 2025. I'm talking about the Wilde Atlantic Way and the Causeway Coastal Route. They're going to be connected in the coming year. Currently, they're 2 separate routes, the Causeway Coastal Route in Northern Ireland, and then the Wilde Atlantic Way, which is the far west of Ireland. And to be honest, there's just a wee bit of water right now that separates the two. And a lot of people will kind of explore both without it being officially connected. So that's going to happen this year. You're going to see some added discovery points, improved signage, and orientation aids. So that'll be fun. Now, getting into the booking tips for 2025. Talking about accommodations, they're already scarce in some areas, especially for the more budget-friendly options like 3-star hotels and hostels. Ireland continues to host nearly 100,000 displaced people across the country, so accommodations are at a premium, especially in cities and popular areas. I'm going to advise you to book early, especially if you're traveling May through September. You really want to start booking now if you want to stay in places like Dublin, Doolin, Dingle, Kinmare, Kinsale, any of those places, Kilkenny, any of those places that are really popular If you want to get into the very central, most popular spots, book now. If you want to try to wing it, which I definitely don't recommend during busy season or really any time during the year, but if you want to try it, just be prepared to stay away from the town centers, probably in more rural areas, and you'll definitely need a car if you plan to try that. And if you have any special accommodations on your list, so you're talking about castles or manor houses, and again, those popular locations, always book those in advance. Talking about Ireland car rental, you want to book early to get the best prices on car rental, keeping in mind that car rental shortages may happen in the busier tourism months and especially on larger vehicles. If you have a group of 5, 6, 7, 8, you definitely want to book your vehicle sooner rather than later because those vehicles they're scarce in quantity and they go quickly. So that means higher prices, demand, overwhelm supply, just, kind of that whole rule of supply and demand. I want you to check out my new Renting a Car and Driving in Ireland resource page because it's going to answer any and all questions that you have on this topic, whether it has to do with what size of vehicle to rent for a family of 5, or maybe it's about toll roads in Ireland or driving tips. It's all there, and you'll find it on the Renting a Car and Driving in Ireland resource page, which can be found at irelandfamilyvacations.com/drive, DRIVE. And when you're comparing car rentals, don't forget to use my exclusive link to save 10% at Irish Car Rentals. And you'll find that at irelandfamilyvacations.com/ICR. Keep in mind when you are doing your budgeting that petrol costs in Ireland are, as of today, $6.65 per gallon. Irish, when you buy gas in Ireland, it's always by the liter. 1 gallon is just over 3.5 liters. So you're looking about, I think it was €1.76 a liter. So $6.65 a gallon. Bus and train travel was super popular last year along the main tourist routes. I don't see that changing for the coming year. So do consider booking your public transportation in advance, especially if you're traveling with a group. For groups of 6 or more, especially really looking at groups of 9 or more, definitely. But 6 or larger, consider hiring a private driver guide. It may be the best money that you spend. Not only will everyone comfortably fit in the touring vehicle with plenty of room for luggage, but everyone's going to be able to enjoy the journey. For groups of 12 or more, plan to book early as minibuses and touring coaches are in high demand. And you will find more information on hiring a driver guide at irelandfamilyvacations.com/driver guide. It's all one word. When you are booking your tours and attractions, there are a few things you want to keep in mind. You want to book your tours and your must-see attractions like the Book of Kells, the Guinness Storehouse, Kilmainham Jail, and Newgrange in advance to avoid disappointment. The OPW spots, or the Office of Public Work locations, like Newgrange and Kilmainham Jail, both offer online booking. It's 30 days in advance for Newgrange and 28 days in advance for Kilmainham, and you want to do that prior to your visit because those both sell out almost the minute they go on sale. You want to log in at that 28 or 30-day mark at midnight Irish time if possible. So if you are on the East Coast, midnight Irish time is 7 p.m. the night before. If you're in the Midwest, it's 6 p.m. If you're in the mountains, it's 5 p.m. If you're on the West Coast, it's 4 p.m. So figure out that time difference, keeping in mind that, you'll be booking one day ahead because of the time difference, but get on midnight Irish time if possible to secure your tickets for those attractions. Carrick-a-Reid Rope Bridge in the north of Ireland operates on time tickets for both the bridge and the car park And according to the National Trust website, pre-booking is essential for the rope bridge crossing. The booking window is 60 days in advance. You don't have to get on right away, but I do recommend booking that not too long after. And if Blarney Castle is on your itinerary, check to see if your planned visit day corresponds with the day a cruise ship is in Cork or Cove. If there's a cruise ship in, and you plan to visit that day, just know that it is going to be packed with visitors. So if you can, I recommend switching days. If you can't switch days, I'm going to say make sure you're there just seriously the minute the site opens, and get in there before those crowds come rushing in. And finally, to avoid the worst of the crowds in popular spots like the Cliffs of Moher, Blarney Castle, other than if there's a cruise ship in, the Rock of Cashel, Kylemore Abbey, similar spots to that, try to time your visit before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. So before 10, after 4, to miss the majority of large tour buses. All right, one final thing, and this kind of goes with the UK ETA, but this is for the EU. So a couple of years ago, the EU said that they were going to launch the European Travel Information and Authorization System, or the ETIAS. So it was set to begin in 2023, then it was moved to 2024, and as of now, it has been postponed until after the EES rolls out. So, what is the EES? This is the Entry and Exit System, and it's a system for registering non-EU nationals traveling for a short stay in 29 European countries. Now, Ireland is part of the EU, but it is not a Schengen member country. So this does not apply to your Ireland vacation. Let me say that again. You do not need an EES to visit Ireland. However, if you plan to travel into another European country, then you want to visit the EES website, which is linked in the show notes, to stay up to date on this requirement. As I said, it is not happening yet, but they say it will happen in 2025. No dates have been officially announced. So, to sum up all of what I've shared today, do your homework, book early, and for answers to more of your Ireland travel questions, visit the Frequently Asked Questions page at IrelandFamilyVacations.com/FAQ. That felt like a lot of information, right? Don't forget that all of it is there for you in the show notes, so please go ahead and check those out. Take what you need from those and have fun. Happy planning of your 2025 Ireland vacation. Don't forget that if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, you can leave a review at the Ireland Family Vacations page or on Trustpilot at IrelandFamilyVacations.com/trust. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and email me. The email is Jody, Jody, at IrelandFamilyVacations.com. I always answer. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, slán go fóill.